Hi everyone! Today we are going to fill in the thumb and the palm of our hand with different textures. We're going to create implied texture of hair, wood, and stone, and then have fun with Zentangle designs. I'm going to demonstrate each technique and talk you through how to do it. You may work along with the video and press pause when needed. Today you will need a thin point Sharpie and the drawing that you started last time. So let's keep working. We are going to begin the day a bit hairy. The two photos on the left show implied texture in a very hairy finger. The two photos on the right show actual texture of hair. Look at those hairy animals. The hair is random, messy, and has lots of value shifts. Notice the value in the implied texture examples. Around the edges, the hair has a darker value. This value shift gives your finger dimension and helps it look round. The second example of implied texture is a student example. Don't you just love that fingernail? Remember, I'm showing you one way to create hair, but there are multiple ways to create this texture. This texture is really fun to create. You're going to start off by being loose with your mark making. When creating this hair texture, I like to move from in to out with my Sharpie. Then you will slowly fill in the space with marks. Eventually, it will turn into a texture that looks like hair. Take your time and be patient. It's going to take a minute to fill in the space. But keep in mind that you want the edges to have a darker value and the middle a lighter value to give it that rounded effect. So don't be afraid to layer the outer edge with marks. Next, we are going to divide the palm of our hand into 5 different sections. You can choose how you want to divide the palm, or you can just divide it the same way as me. The next texture we are going to do is a wood texture. The image on the left is implied texture of wood, and the two pictures on the right are actual textures of wood. When observing the actual textures, notice all the thin grain lines that run up and down the wood. Notice the thick and thin spaces between them. Notice the dark and light areas. This texture is one of the most challenging ones we will do, so take your time and good luck. I'm going to begin by making a few teardrop shapes. These teardrops represent the knots in the wood. This shape is a little tricky to make, so you might want to practice creating this shape on a separate piece of paper or draw it using pencil first. So now that I have a few teardrops, I'm going to draw a line from top to bottom and weave around the teardrops. Repeat this step and fill in the entire space with lines. You may want to have some lines close together and some further apart for a more natural look. I'm going to add some small shapes within the teardrops to break up the space. If you want to, you may fill in the small shapes with black, but I didn't do that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and choose random lines to darken. Having both thick and thin lines is the secret to an awesome looking wood grain texture. If you need to go back and add more lines, you can do so. Just keep working on it until you feel like it looks really good. The next texture for today's video will be a stone texture. The image on the left is implied texture of stone, and the image on the right is an actual stone texture. Notice the imperfections on the stones and all the textures on each stone. Notice the large black gaps between the stones and how those gaps create interesting shapes. Each stone is a different size and shape, and some are large, medium, and small. I'm going to begin by drawing stone shapes. Since I'm trying to draw a stone, the shapes are not going to be perfectly round or oval. They will have imperfections. I'm going to draw some large shapes and some small shapes. Once the shapes are in, I'm going to add hatching and cross-hatching lines around each stone. I'm going to make the background fairly dark. Once the background is done, I'm going to add texture to each stone. So to add texture to each stone, you can add hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, or all three. You can decide what looks best and what you want to do. Be loose with your Sharpie and have fun with it. For the final 3 spaces, I'm going to let you choose what textures and designs to add. The photograph on the right shows an example of Zentangle patterns. If you Google Zentangle, you will find lots of ideas and fun patterns and textures you can reference. For this next section, you may watch and do what I do, or come up with your own ideas. So let's get started. Repetition is a big part of Zentangle design. For this first pattern, I'm going to draw a zigzag shape similar to the Wonder Woman logo. I'm going to repeat this shape throughout the space. And to make this pattern more interesting, I'm going to thicken some of the lines. A simple shape repeated can make a really cool texture and design. For the next one, I am going to draw different sizes of circles randomly throughout the space. Some large, some medium, and some small. To make these circles more interesting, I'm going to add stippling to each circle. I'm going to add lots of dots at the bottom of each circle to create a gradient effect. For the final one, I'm going to start with 2 wavy lines and then add curvy lines on top of the wavy lines. To make this pattern more interesting, I'm going to add small dots along the edge and some hatching lines in between the 2 wavy lines. Congratulations! Your hand is now filled with awesome textures. I can't wait to see how it looks. Please photograph your work and upload to Canvas. If you're having a blast with this assignment and you would like to do more, feel free to draw the word texture somewhere on your page and fill it in with different textures. You may also fill in the white space with different textures and designs. I don't care. As long as you're having fun, I'm happy. I've created an optional video that you can watch of me filling in the bubble letters with textures that you can watch if you're interested. So good luck and have fun.